Hare Krishna. So we'll start with chanting the Jai Radha Madhav prayers. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone, louder the better. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram. Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Srinivas Govinda, Jayo Srinivas Govinda, Jayo Srinivas Govinda, Jayo Srinivas Govinda. Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Ananta Dev, Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Ananta Dev. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Jai Shri Shri Nittai Gauranga ki, Jai Shri Srinivas Govinda ki, Jai Shri Lakshmi Narsimhadev Ananta Dev ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nittai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So before we start, let's all please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll be reading from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 14, it's displayed on the screen, so you can all repeat after me. So please repeat. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Sitoshna sukhadukkada. Sitoshna sukhadukkada. Agama paino anityas. Agama paino anityas. Tam satitiksasva bharata. Tam satitiksasva bharata. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Sitoshna sukhadukkada. Agama paino anityas. Tam satitiksasva bharata. So read the word-to-word meanings. You can repeat after me. Matra, sensuous. Sparshaha, perception. Tu, only. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Sita, winter, Ushna, summer, Sukha, happiness, Dukkadha, giving pain, Agama, appearing, Apayinaha, disappearing, Anityaha, non-permanent, Tan, all of them, Titikshava, just try to tolerate, Bharata, O descendant of the Bharata dynasty. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So please repeat the translation. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So I'll read the purport. In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magha, January, February. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of the Kshatriyas, and although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge, because by knowledge and devotion only one can liberate himself from the clutches of Maya, illusion. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kaunteya signifies his great blood relations from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides, he is supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting. Thus ends the purport. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here we are reading from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is very much one of the first instruction given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. So you can see the second chapter, the title is Contents of Gita Summarized. So if you think about the first chapter is observing the armies on the battlefield. And in the first chapter, it's mostly the description of the battlefield and the various armies of the Pandavas and Kauravas and the great warriors. And then, Krishna has not yet spoken in the first chapter. Only Arjuna speaks. He says, Krishna, why don't you take me closer into the, in between the two armies? I want to see who all have come, to fight. And then once he goes in the first chapter, Arjuna starts speaking. he becomes overwhelmed. He sees his own relatives, his grandparents, his uncles, his teachers, his cousins, and gets completely overwhelmed. We already discussed this, just giving a synopsis. And he becomes completely panicked, and he starts saying so many things. Oh Krishna, I don't think this is right. How can I kill my own teacher? Right? Dronacharya was there. How can I kill my own grandfather? Bhishma was there. How can I kill my own brothers and uncles? They were all there. And he starts making some points, saying, oh, this doesn't seem right. I think we will go to hell by doing this. We will unnecessarily, get into committing sinful activities. This is all seems to be sinful. How can I kill my own elders? Does it make sense? Anywhere we kill, the aggressors or those who have committed sinful activities. But here, these are my own people, my own uncle, my own grandfather. How can I kill them? Should I not forgive them? Maybe I should stop this battle. Maybe I should just give up this battle and go away. I better think, I should just give it up. And then, Arjuna ends the first chapter being completely morose. So in the second chapter, Krishna starts speaking, but he smiles and he says, what is this, Arjuna, you are speaking? This, he completely rejects and condemns whatever Arjuna's proposal is. Krishna uses very strong words. He says, Anarya Justam Aswaryam Akirtikaram Arjuna. He says, Anarya Justam. He says, Arya means advanced actually. He's saying, Anarya, your statements are not at all the statements of a person who is advanced. Because Arjuna was speaking like a very great advanced person, very great philosopher, very great thoughts, advanced thinking. But Krishna says, nope, Anarya, very unadvanced speaking. And then he says, Aswargyam, he says, forget about going to heaven. Aswargyam, you will actually go to hell. You're saying, by fighting in this battle, we might go to hell. But Krishna is saying, no, but this understanding is what will not take you to heaven. Aswargyam. Akirtikaram, he says, this will actually bring you, you will lose your fame. It will bring a lot of, it will be very unfamey on your part, to not fight the battle. So Krishna totally rejects. And then Arjuna makes a few more arguments. He says, no, I don't think this is right. And I think we should not fight. And then he gives up also. He thinks, arguing is of no use. He says, Shishyas teham swabhimantvam prapannam. He says, now I am surrendering unto you. I am lost. I don't know what is right. Should I kill my own people? Or should I get killed? Or should I give up the battle? What I should do? I don't know. I am completely lost. So now I surrender to you. Sishyas teham, Sishyas. I am becoming your Shishya. I am becoming your disciple. Swabhimantvam prapannam. And I am surrendering. A disciple, the sign of a disciple means he has to accept a spiritual master and surrender. No more argument, right? Prabhupada also says, when you go to a spiritual master, you should not go with the mood of argument. Because if you argue, we discussed, an argument leads to another argument. It will never end. So one has to acknowledge. So Arjuna realized that though they had very friendly relationship, but he knew Krishna was the supreme. So he surrendered. He said, no, I give up my position as your friend or something. I become your disciple. And then Krishna starts speaking, and the first thing he actually does is chastises him. He says, while speaking like a learned person, you're actually, what you're saying is not at all learned at all. He says, Nanu sochanti panditaha. The way you are thinking, the pandita, one who is learned, does not think like that. So he first chastises him. Right? He says, while speaking like a very learned person, what you are speaking, the learned person does not speak like this. Why? Because one who is learned, he won't. He says, Gatasaun agatasaun nanu sochanti panditaha. One who is living or one who has left the body, one who is a pandita, learned man, will not lament for them, even if one actually dies. So one could be puzzled, oh, how is this that even if a person dies, we should not lament? Then Krishna starts speaking. He gives the first instruction, the first foundational principle. He says, so you're thinking, you're lamenting, you're feeling sad that somebody will die, right? Somebody will cease to exist. But then Krishna says, never was there a time when, I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings or everyone, gathered here. Never was there a time when they did not exist, or will there be a time where they will not cease to exist? That means they're always existing. Then one could ask a question, what do you mean always existing, Krishna? If I kill them, they're not existing anymore, right? We can't experience their presence. They're not existing anymore. The body becomes a dead body, and the body will be either burnt or buried. So their existence goes away, right? What do you mean? They always exist. So Krishna is clarifying what is this existence. So that is the 13th verse, where Krishna is saying that what we see is the body, but what actually exists is the soul within the body. So Krishna is saying, Dehinosmin yata dehe, dehina asmin. So in the body there is the soul. And that soul remains the same, but the body is changing. What is it? Kaumaram yavanam jara. So it's the body that is changing. From Kaumara, from a young age, yavanam, to the youthful age, jara to the old age. And then what happens at old age? Tata dehantara prapti. Again it will get another body. In this way, it is the soul is remaining constant. So first foundational principle, the first knowledge that Krishna is giving is that we are not this body. We are all this soul. So everyone you're seeing there, your grandfather, your uncle and everyone, they are not those bodies. Even if the bodies are killed, the soul will remain. So what are you worried about? Right? So that is the first instruction. So as I said, or the first information or knowledge that Krishna is giving, the foundational knowledge. And as I mentioned before, Bhagavad Gita is all about information and instructions, right? Or the knowledge. There is knowledge and there is instructions. So Krishna here now gave knowledge. The most foundational principle, the fundamental knowledge of our existence is that we are not the body, we are the soul. We always exist. The body is what is changing, and the end of life, our Sanskrit, our Vedic terminology is a perfect terminology. Here they say death. But in Sanskrit, they say, Dehant ho gaya, right? They say, what happened? Deh ka ant ho gaya. The Atma is always there. Dehant. You see the word? So Sanskrit is so technical, so, perfect, accurate description of everything. So even the word that is used is Tata Dehantra Prapti. So only the Deha is ending. But then Prapti, again it will get another body. And Prabhupada also says, it's a very simple logical conclusion. If the soul is there and the body is constantly changing, right? Actually, even from childhood to youth, the body has completely changed. Even scientifically, every cell, they say within 7 years, every cell multiplies and all the cells are gone, completely new cells. So the body is constantly changing. And the soul is always having a body, right? And when this body becomes unusable, just like those cells became unusable after so many years or something, new cells have come, when the whole body, the system itself has become unusable, where it can't produce any more new cells and, the life it's designed to end, the soul which was always having body, suddenly how will it not have a body? It will have another body. That is what Krishna is saying. Now the thing comes, understanding all this. So Krishna says, when he's saying all this, he says, Dhiras tatra na muhyati. He says, one who is self-realized, na muhyati. He is not bewildered. He is not deluded by this thing. So Krishna is bringing him to the point, for you to be able to understand, you have to become a dhira. That means a self-realized soul. A dhira means a very sober person. And how to be sober, right? This life and death is a very drastic changes. So Krishna is saying the first instruction he is giving here in this verse. What is the first instruction? He's instructing Arjuna and all of us, obviously, all the readers of Bhagavad Gita, to cultivate a very important quality. What is it? Tamsha titikshasva bharata. Titikshasva. That means tolerance. Try to tolerate. So this is the first instruction. What is the first instruction in Bhagavad Gita is, we should become tolerant. If we are intolerant, if we are impatient, if we become very easily anxious and panicked, we can't, navigate this, journey. Like it is said in our life, this material world, the life is like a journey in an ocean. The material in the ocean, if you are in a boat, how is the ocean going to be? Lot of turbulence, right? Lot of waves, very turbulent it will be. But we have to navigate in this life, which is like an ocean, like being in a boat. Now you have to be tolerant. If you become very panicked, you can't go anywhere, right? So you have to be very tolerant. And Krishna is giving a wonderful analogy to explain how to cultivate this tolerance, right? So it is easy to say, oh, become tolerant. But to become tolerant, unless you have a proper understanding, you can't be tolerant. Right? So for example, if you go to the doctor, there is some problem, some symptoms, and the doctor will give medicine. And sometimes the doctor will say, yes, continue to take this medicine. The symptoms will last for another few weeks or few months, but it will go away provided you take the medicine, right? Now, what is it that gives the impotence to the person to be tolerant? Because he is taking the medicine and soon it will go away, right? That is what gives him an impetus. Let's say if the doctor says, this will always be there all your life, nothing can be done. There is no medicine. You have to deal with this. Is there any impetus to tolerate? They can't tolerate. Actually, it happened recently. There is a Switzerland, there is a company. They produce these pods. It's like a small pod where a person can lie down. They're called suicide pods. A person can go in and it will, you can turn it on. You can pay some money. They will allow you to get in. You can turn it on. It will slowly release a very, I think nitrogen or some gas. And it's like a slow poisoning of the body. And after a few hours, the person will die. And it is illegal in many of the countries. I think somewhere in Switzerland, someplace, there is some debate and, there is a gray area that maybe it is illegal. So actually a person from US, an elderly lady, she went, she paid a big amount, she signed up for it, and she got into the pod and she killed herself. Why she did that? Because she had a chronic illness. She was going through so much pain and misery, and there was no hope. All doctors gave up, everybody gave up. If there is no hope, there is no impetus to tolerate. What is the use of tolerating this pain continuously? Let me end my life, right? That's what the person does. So we need some kind of impetus to tolerate. We need a reasoning. We need a hope that this pain, this misery will go away. So what is that? So Krishna is saying in every one of our life, we have that hope if we understand how life works. So Prabhupada is giving here an example, Krishna is giving an example of the seasonal changes, right? Matra sparshastha kaunteya sita ushna. Sita means the cold season and ushna is the winter season. So Krishna is saying just like these two seasons, right? The winter will come, right? Nowadays it's winter, right? January it's cold, there is some kind of a frost warning, it's windy. So, and then soon summer will come. Now, winter is inconvenient, isn't it? But what are all of us doing? We're just tolerating, right? We're getting out our jackets, we're wearing the hoodies, or we're wearing gloves, or beanie, or some kind of a cap. Why? Because we know soon it will go away, right? It's already January now. The sunrise is staying for a little longer. Slowly February will come, March, April. So we know slowly, yes, it will become warm, and we have hope that this cold situation won't last like this forever. And then that gives us impetus, and then slowly it gives us enough impetus to tolerate. That then slowly summer will come, and summer also sometimes it will become extremely heat. At that time, do we give up? Do we lose hope in life and everything? We know this is also very short term. It will go away. Right? Seasons will come and seasons will go. So because we know that these seasonal changes, go on in some kind of a systematic pattern, we know that they won't stay forever. Because they won't stay forever, the inconvenience won't stay forever, we tolerate. So that is what gives us the impetus. In the same way, Krishna is saying, Sukha Dukkha, the happiness and distress that happen in our life are also like the seasonal changes. Now, what does that mean, like seasonal changes? Just like the seasons come and go, the happiness and distress also come and go in our life. Like we can all analyze our own life. There were times where there were difficult situations. There were times where there was very happy, comfortable situation. But neither of them lasted, right? Isn't it? The difficult situation also somehow we got through, and the good times also somehow we get through. And again, the bad times will also come. So how to be tolerant is by understanding that just like the seasonal changes, there is a systematic pattern. In the month of Jan, Feb, it becomes cold. In the month of May, June, it becomes hot. In our life also, actually, just like the seasons are predetermined. In our life, every individual life also, there is a predetermined pattern. It is just that it is not the exact same pattern for everybody, right? The weather is the same pattern for everyone. For everyone, winter is the same time, summer is the same time. But the happiness and distress is not the same time for everyone, but it is a pattern for everyone also. It won't last forever for everyone also. And how can we say that? In our own lives, we can see when we are going through some distressful times, maybe others are going through good times. When we are going through good times, others are going through some distressful situation. Well, one could say, no, those who are in distress, they're not working hard. They should do something to get rid of their distress. If only they had worked hard, they would not be in the distress situation. Right? That is what is illusion. Thinking that by my efforts, I can change my pattern. It is like trying to say, winter is cold because all the society, because we are not putting enough effort. Actually, it is foolish to try to change the weather pattern, isn't it? How many people, everyone come out and put a campfire, it won't make a big difference, right? The human society, human civilization, whatever fire, heat you can generate, it can't change, the whole, the distance between the sun and earth is more, and, it will be colder. You can't bring that heat, right? So just like people don't do that. But when happiness and distress are being faced, people don't know that it is a predetermined pattern. A predetermined pattern cannot be changed. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, you have a question. Correct. Yes, you can wear clothes. That is called tolerance, right? You're tolerating. You're taking some kind of a Yes, you're putting in some effort, but you're not trying to change the nature itself. You're trying to adjust at your level. So that is what tolerance is all about. You're making an adjustment at our level. But if we become intolerant and we want to completely get rid of our distress, definitely we should put our effort. Just like you're not feeling well, you should definitely go to the doctor. But we also have to understand that there is only so much in our control. There is so much that is not in our control. And that is in the control of, the higher dimension. It is called the modes of nature, like the devatas. I don't know if you saw a picture, Prabhupada wrote a book called Laws of Nature. So there are people on the ground, and then it shows above the clouds, there are these devatas, and they're holding these strings, like how the puppet show. So these people are there on the ground, but there are thin strings coming, and, the demigods are actually, making, them move. So what we have in our control is very less. Like, for example, I can say, I raised my hand, right? But somebody who is paralyzed, he cannot raise his hand. Well, the intention is the same by me and the other person. Why could he not raise the hand? Why did I raise the hand? This is where the demigods are coming. I desire to raise my hand, and because I deserve, I have the ability, I have the good karma to be able to do that, they lifted my string. That is, my hand is up. But somebody who doesn't have the good karma is not destined to raise his hand, he is paralyzed, and the devatas are not lifting. That is what Krishna says, very nice statement. He says, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha. See, these all activities are actually performed by Prakriti. Krishna didn't say the Jiva is performing. He's not saying the living being. He's not saying we are doing. He says Prakriti Kriyamanani. The Prakriti is doing. Just like it is said, right? Man proposes, God disposes. Every moment, every act, every step that we are taking, we are only desiring. But who is executing? Prakriti is executing. Ahankara vimuda atma kartaham iti mannate. Then Krishna says, Ahankara vimuda atma. The soul who is ahankara, with full of false ego, vimuda means a fool. Vimuda means visishta rupena muda, is a very strong fool. Kartaham iti mannate, I am doing, he thinks. Right? So now think, if somebody, very expert batsman, he hit a sixer and he says, yes, I did it. As per Krishna is saying, ahankara vimuda atma. He is full of false ego and he doesn't understand anything, because Prakriti is the one that is doing. The same effort, the same endeavor is being put by the other batsman also. Sometimes it doesn't go sixer. He will hit with the exact same miles per hour force. Why it doesn't go? Because the destiny is controlling. So what happens to us is controlled by the destiny. And the same destiny controls our happiness and distress also. So if we know that, then we can become tolerant. We know this is just a pattern. We should definitely do, whatever we can, we should do. But we should know that it's not in our absolute control. We can't change everything. And that is what is the difference between a person who is not in knowledge. One who is not in knowledge, he will become completely anxious, panicked. He will even go into depression because he's not able to change his situation. But one who is in knowledge, who knows that, okay, my miseries and happiness are in a pattern, he will think, well, I did my best. What else can I do? I should just tolerate. Right? And there is a proof also. There is evidence in the Vedic sciences. It's not just theory. If you go to an expert astrologer, they can actually make your chart, If you give your just 3 coordinates, you have to give your date of birth, time of birth, and location. Right? You have to give your GPS location. And it is such expert scientific calculations, these astrological calculations. They can do a complete chart from your life till the end of your life. They even know when you pass away. They know your date of death also. Right? Sometimes you go and give them a chart of a person who has passed away. They will find out this person is not existing anymore. Immediately they will not read. Because as per astrology, you're not supposed to, do any predictions on person who has passed away. Unless if you know he has already passed away, that's a different thing. So what does it mean? They can actually draw your chart. And what is that chart? Like a pattern, like the summer, winter seasons. They can draw your chart of when there will be happiness, when there will be misery. Like they can say, in this age, from whatever 15 to 20, you will have good time, you will get good rank, you will have good job. Maybe 25 something, you will get some health issue, you will get in trouble. Or some other stage, you will get into financial trouble and everything. So what does it mean? Everything is predetermined. So there is only very limited that we can do. So if you know that I am going through a predetermined pattern where I can't change a lot of my existing circumstance, then it gives us the impetus to tolerate. But that still does not solve the problem, isn't it? Okay, I will tolerate. There is happiness, there is miseries. I will tolerate. But I still don't like happiness and miseries. I always want to be happy. Right? So how do we do that? How do we go for the ultimate solution? That is what Krishna is saying in the next verse. And even here, Prabhupada is saying that we have to do our prescribed duties, our religious duties, like Kshatriya here, Arjuna, he has to fight. And we all also have to do our duties. We have our day-to-day duties, we have to take care of our family, our children, our job and everything. But at the same time, our duties, we should not just be like, material activities. Our Vedic civilization, the human life is meant to not just perform material activities, but something very important. What is that? I'll read this line here, it's very nice. So Prabhupada is saying, one has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge, because by knowledge and devotion only, one can liberate himself from the clutches of Maya. So this is what we have to liberate ourselves. These miseries and happiness, this pattern is not a very good experience. Actually, it is not good. Nobody wants difficulty. So we are saying so far, well, difficulties will come and go, you tolerate. But at the same time, we don't want difficulties also. How do I completely get rid of these difficulties? That is what is liberation. That is what is attaining mukti. And that knowledge Krishna is giving, that while you tolerate, you should also work towards a situation where you don't have to tolerate anymore. It is not that you go on tolerating life after life after life, just like that lady. If all I have to tolerate, why should I live? I better commit suicide. A lot of people do that, Sometimes, the main reason, what is the people commit suicide? They see no hope. They see everything is miserable, everything is lost. Now there is no hope of any happiness at all. Why should I just live a painful life? Let me end this life. But no, Krishna is saying every one of us are entitled to a completely pain-free life. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is giving us. It is giving us those instructions and that knowledge and that solution where we can get rid of these miseries. So further down here, Prabhupada actually later explains that if you analyze, all our problems are because of our material existence, our material body. What do we want? Sat Chit Ananda is what the soul wants, because that is the nature of soul. We talked about it many times also. Sat means eternal. We want to live forever. Nobody wants to die, isn't it? Even an animal you take, you try to cause some harm, it will try to, go away from you. It wants to live. The human, everyone wants to live forever. Sat. But what is our situation? We are in this material body, which is as sure as death, like they say. Definitely it is going to end, and nobody likes it. Anytime you talk about death, people become so disappointed. The whole mood is off. Suddenly they come to know, or nothing happened, suddenly they see a news. They will see something, somehow someone very horribly died. They completely mood off, very disappointed. Anything good, jolly thing going on, they're so disappointed. Just the fact that our existence can come to an end is so disappointing. Why? Because the nature of soul is Sat. It is to be eternal. The soul doesn't want to die because its nature is to be eternal. But then there is this situation where everything will end here. This material existence itself is like that. Everything has an expiry date, isn't it? Whatever you buy has an expiry date. Everything, including this whole world, one day, even the scientist, as per our Vedic this thing or universal science, they say sun will become very hot one fine day and everything will burn and the whole universe will collapse. It has an end. Actually, even the Vedic sciences say the same thing. When the time of dissolution comes, Lord, Mahavishnu starts inhaling all these universes and everything will, collude and, collapse and burn. So all this will happen. But we don't want any of this. We want to live eternally. So the root problem is material existence. Living in a material body which is temporary, living in a material world which is temporary is one of the main root cause of our inconvenience. So that is the aspect of Sat is missing. So what is this world? This is Asat. That is why a very famous prayer, childhood we used to pray, Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. See, what are we praying? Can you imagine what wonderful our Vedic civilization, the prayer in the beginning of the school, I remember, I studied in Kendriya Vidyalaya, so we used to recite this. Right? So this is the purpose of knowledge. This is the purpose of education. We go to school to learn this knowledge for what? Not learning mathematics, science, chemistry, technology and all these things. That is all good. But the real knowledge is how to go from Asatoma Sadgamaya. From childhood, that is the prayer we are trying to teach the children and we are learning. We are praying to Krishna, I am in this Asat world. The body is Asat. The relationships are Asat. My possessions are Asat. Everything is Asat. But I want Sat. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya. So that is the prayer, right? So Krishna reveals in Bhagavad Gita that there is an existence where we can live in eternal existence. So Krishna says in 15th chapter, Yat, where it says, Yad Gatva Na Nivartante Tad Dhamam Paramam Mama. There is a Dhama, like this is material world. Dhama is a place But this is a temporary place. But there is a paramam place also, that's Tadhamam Paramam, the supreme, where it never ends. It is the spiritual world. Okay? So the Sat. Now this material existence, the another problem is Chit, means Achit, lack of knowledge, ignorance. Ignorance is what causes misery also. The material body itself, because it being temporary, all miseries it causes the body. And Chit and lack of knowledge. We are so ignorant. We are so ignorant that we don't even know how our body works. When we have some problem, when we go to the doctor, he will do an X-ray. He'll say, oh, this is how my ribs are, or this is how my bones are. We don't know anything. Sometimes they'll do different kind of scan and say, this is your heart, this is your lung. We have no idea. And then they will say there is something. We don't know how it works. Prabhupada says we are eating food. Our hair is growing every day. We shave, again it grows. Right? Our nails are growing. How it is growing, we don't know. Right? You cut the nail, you're okay. But you cut little deeper, 1 millimeter more, it cuts your skin. Then it will become infection, bleeding, band-aid, so much, right? Little differently you cut, you're okay. Little deep you cut, you're in trouble. So how this body is working, we don't know. Sometimes there is a cut, and if you're in a good health and you have good immunity, again the body will heal itself. There is this red blood cells, white blood cells, clotting mechanism. There is so much unbelievable. The scientists, the medicinal department is doing research for hundreds of years. Still they have not found anything. If you just analyze, just like there is a universe on the outside, right? There are innumerable planets, stars, galaxies. It goes on for hundreds, thousands of light years. In the same way, there is a universe inside also. You take your body, you say the body as the border. You look inside also, it's like a universe. Every cell has so much mechanism. There are hundreds, thousands of cells, nerve cells, neurons. There is electrical, mechanical, civil, all kinds of arrangement. Inside the body is like a universe. Outside is a universe. But we are in total ignorance. We don't know how anything works. We are just going on living. We see the stars in the sky. We just ignore. We go away. We don't even know anything. If we try to know, we will only become crazy. Right? So Achit, ignorance is a big problem. And we just ignore it actually. We don't worry about it. And then the third one is Satchit Ananda. Ananda is bliss. We want to be always happy. And that is what we are always doing, right? It becomes cold, we put a jacket. We don't want inconvenience. It becomes too hot, we'll wear some kind of a light shirt or something. Everything, we are all sitting, I always give this example, but slowly, we keep adjusting. Why? Because if you sit in one angle, you'll get some back pain or your leg muscle will sprain something. We are always trying to adjust. Now, if you analyze your life from morning to evening, there is Nirananda and you're trying to make it Ananda. Just analyze. The moment you get up in the morning, what's happening? There's some kind of sweat and everything. You're feeling very, unclean. So it is Nirananda, not good. So you take shower. You feel fresh. Yes. Now good. Is the problem solved? No. You start feeling hungry. Right? That is a Nirananda. Now you're trying to solve that. Okay, let me eat something. You have eaten. Now after that, okay, can I just enjoy, sit back, relax, go to a park or something? No. I have to pay the bills. I have to, take care of my life, my job, my retirement. You'll have to go to work. So to solve that Nirananda, you're doing something. So we are actually, if you see, struggle for existence. From morning to evening, from birth to death, we are only struggling for existence. Continuously working hard because we don't want to be in Nirananda. We want to be in Ananda situation. So that is what Mukti, that is what liberation is all about. It is going away from Asat, Achit and Nirananda to Sat, Chit and Ananda. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is all about. And why we should tolerate? Now back to the topic here. Why Krishna is saying tolerate? You tolerate so that you can make progress to go to that Sat, Chit, Ananda world. That is the Vaikuntha Dhama. That is the spiritual world. And Bhagavad Gita is full of instructions on how to attain that state. What is that state? The state of Sat, Chit, Ananda, where you're not living in a temporary world, where everything, then one day it won't end, where there is no expiry date for anything. That is Vaikuntha. Vigataha Kunta iti Vaikuntha. So where there is no expiry date, everything is eternal. That is where Krishna is there. That is why Vaikuntha Ekadashi, great celebration. The Dwara of Vaikuntha will be open. Everyone is rushing, the Vedic culture. They want to enter Vaikuntha. That Asatoma Sadgamaya, that is an opportunity. I can go to that spiritual world, right? So Bhagavad Gita is giving instructions that while you tolerate, not just to tolerate blindly like but tolerate with an aim, with the purpose of life to become liberated. So in the next verse, that's what Krishna is saying. Sama dukkha sukham dhiram sa amrutatvaya kalpate. So what happens if sama sukha dukkha? Sama means equipoised. If one is equipoised in sukha and dukkha, what will happen? He says, dhiram, one will be one who is a sober, he can attain amrutatvaya kalpate. Again, mrityu means death. Amrita means where there is no death. So that is what we should work towards. That is what Krishna is saying. Why you should tolerate? Not just for sake of tolerance, but you tolerate, and then you can, by tolerating, you should make progress to get into that spiritual existence, to become Amritatvaya, to become liberated, to attain mukti. Not that we are tolerating, but we are constantly fighting to change, the pattern that has been predetermined. Like Prabhupada gives an example, best use of bad bargain. Right? So let's say, I also keep saying, let's say you want to go from here to Los Angeles, right? And you got a very bad car, right? A lot of noise, no AC, nothing is working. But Los Angeles, for sure, you have a very good car and a house. That maybe let's say that's where you live. And for whatever reason, you're stuck in the Bay Area. And the only way to go is a very bad car. There is no other option. So what do? We still go. Why? There is an impetus for us. Okay, once I go, I am done with this. Until then, 6-7 hours, let me tolerate. The vehicle can make a lot of noise. It will go very slow, very bumpy, very hurting maybe. But still, that, you're making best use of bad bargain. So that is what this human life is all also. The human life, if you analyze, is only a bad bargain. You work so hard, you lose everything. End of the day, it is like building a castle on the ocean of a shore. A big wave comes and everything is gone. We build so much, we study, we earn degrees and designations and jobs and assets and relationships and so many things we build all our life. What is happening? It is completely getting collapsed. Everything squared out, and next life you don't know where you will be again. So it is actually a very bad bargain. And imagine this being repeated, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Again birth, again work hard, again lose everything, again work hard, again lose everything. It's a very bad bargain. And being stuck in the cycle of this loop of birth and death is a very bad bargain. So that is where the Vedic civilization comes. That is where Krishna comes, and the spiritual master comes and is giving knowledge. Come out of this loop, come out of this cycle. And the loophole is Krishna consciousness. Take to the instructions of Krishna, take to the instructions of the Vedic knowledge, and come out of this loophole, attain this mukti. Don't be stuck in it. So that is what we should do. Make best use of bad bargain. And when you make best use, Krishna again and again in the whole Bhagavad Gita, he says, you will attain that state which we are actually looking for. One simple thing he says is, Janma karma chame divyam, evam yo vetti tatvataha, tyaktva deham, punarjanma naiti mamaiti. He says very simple thing, Janma karma chame divyam. Krishna is saying of me, the divine knowledge of Janma and Karma, my appearance and my activities. If you know, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. Tyaktva deham, see dehantra, deham, tyaktva, once you give up the body, punarjanma naiti, you won't get another punarjanma. Mameti, right? Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti, mameti. So you will actually come back to me. So like this Krishna, all we have to do is then just understand about Krishna. So that is what we will do. When we read Bhagavad Gita, when we understand Krishna's instructions, we will actually gain that knowledge with which we can go back to Krishna. Okay? So I will stop here. I request the devotees to hand the beads. And why are we doing this chanting? As Krishna says, this process, this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is one of the solutions. As I told, Krishna gives information and instructions. Knowledge and solution also is giving. And one of the solutions to attain this mukti, to go back to the spiritual world, to go to Vaikuntha, is actually becoming Krishna conscious, to become God conscious, and to build our relationship with Krishna. And once we do that, we will actually go back to Him. Krishna says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto mad jaji mam namaskuru. If you become my devotee, if you chant my name, Mamayivashyasi, you will come to me. Right? So this is the reason we do this chanting, so that we can all get closer to Krishna. We can actually implement this, making this, best use of bad bargain. So the real best use is to attain that mukti, to go to Vaikuntha. Just go ahead, yeah. Right. Correct. Mm-hmm. Right, very good question. So he's saying we are actually the soul, we are not the body, but the happiness and distress are experienced through this body, right, through the five senses. So when this actual experience is being experienced, is it being experienced by the body or the soul? Right? So the answer is, it is being experienced by the soul. Because the soul is in the body, the symptom of the soul, later Krishna says here is that the soul has spread this consciousness throughout the body. So whatever happens to the body, the soul will become aware of it. Just like if I'm sitting here, there's a pin. If it pricks me, I will know, but you will not know. But if there is something that is touching you, you will know, right? Because the soul has spread its consciousness throughout the body, the soul becomes aware of what is happening to the body. So any happiness and misery that is happening to the body is experienced by the soul. So that is where the solution is to come out of a material body which will give us experience of misery and take on a spiritual body where there is no question of misery. Right? So yes, the soul is experiencing. So that is what liberation is all about. The liberation is all about this. For the soul to transfer from a material body into a spiritual body, from the material world into a spiritual world. And that is what the Vaikuntha Dhama, where Lord Narayana or Lord Krishna and all his devotees are there, they're all having spiritual bodies. There is no material body. There is no miserable existence. Right? So let me see. I have beats. All right. So we'll all chant one round Hare Krishna mantra. So before, I have beats. Yeah, thank you. Before we start chanting, we'll chant the Guru Pranam mantra and the Panchatattva mantra, and we'll all chant the Hare Krishna mantra together. So please repeat after me. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we'll all chant the Hare Krishna mantra together. We'll chant the full mantra on every beat. And it is said this chanting is a prayer to the Lord to engage us in His service, to help us get closer to Him. So we should chant in a prayerful mood. Okay? So we'll chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,